We are here again, guys. We have to address this issue again of illegal immigrants. We are here talking about illegal immigration again because as we speak, the president of EFF, Julius Malema, is doing an African tour, I would suppose, because I think he was in Liberia and he was also in Ghana. So Julius Malema, as he's doing this African tour, you know, one of the things that people are going to talk about is this issue of illegal immigration. You know, as we speak right now in South Africa, the South African media, the South African media has actually given people an idea that the South Africans are xenophobic. Right now, as we speak, South Africans are finding themselves at a very difficult spot. We are at the very corner as South Africans right now. You see the taxpayers of this country. There are no taxpayers in this world that are abused like the taxpayers of South Africa. Right now, Julius Malema is doing an African tour. And you know, naturally, one of the questions that Julius Malema will have to address is this issue of illegal immigrants. You know, Africans, many African countries, they actually think South Africans are xenophobic because the media has actually portrayed South Africa as a xenophobic country. So recently, Malema was asked a question about Nhlanhla, and what is he going to do to actually push out Nhlanhla out of South Africa? Because those Africans there in Ghana, they believe that in South Africa, man, if you oppose Julius Malema, you must be taken out of South Africa. So this young man that you are seeing on your screen right now is the man that is going to ask Julius Malema a question, a very specific question, that in South Africa, there's a man called Nhlanhla, and you know Nhlanhla is pushing this thing of theirs that they call Operation Dudula. So what is Julius Malema, the president incoming, going to do to push out Nhlanhla out of South Africa when he becomes the president? So that was the question to Julius Malema. Man, I can tell you today, I can guarantee you today that this issue of illegal immigrants, it is going to hurt the EFF big time. This issue of illegal immigrants, it is going to hurt the EFF big time, whether they like it or not. Whether they like it or not, I know you, Julius Malema's followers, I know you would think I'm insane. But I can tell you today that, guys, for once, can you stop looking at things through the eyes of politics? Can you guys, for once, please start looking at things how they are in South Africa? Do you honestly believe that anyone in Africa would actually allow what is happening in South Africa to happen in their country? Why are other countries in Africa not allowing illegal immigrants to do as they please in their own country? Why must the South Africans actually make excuses for illegal immigrants? Why must the ANC government, every single chance they get, make excuses for illegal immigrants, knowing very well that the taxpayers of this country, they are already overburdened? Right now, the infrastructure of South Africa, they cannot even handle the amount of people that are flocking into the country right now. These are the things that we are not talking about. And South Africans, men, have made it the point that, guys, let's be clear about this thing of xenophobic. Let's be clear about this thing of illegal immigrants, because right now it seems like there are people, man, who are simply interested in putting the tax on South Africa instead of actually addressing what is happening in South Africa. First of all, South Africans are not saying they hate illegal immigrants. South Africans do not hate illegal immigrants. South Africans are saying, man, if you want to come and live in South Africa, man, why don't you do it legally? Why don't you acquire the papers to be in the country? Why don't you do the processes? Why don't you follow the processes? Why must the South Africans sit here and the taxpayers of this country, why must the taxpayers of this country pay for everything and even go as far as paying for people who are in the country illegally? How many countries in Africa are actually paying for illegal immigrants that are in the country illegally? How many countries are doing that? Many African countries, as we speak right now, they will not allow you to simply cross borders and come and do as you please in their own country. Why must South Africa be a sacrificial lamb for these Africans who want to cross borders to come and live here? Every time when Julius Malema and the EFF, they are being questioned about this thing of illegal foreigners, they always resort to calling South Africans xenophobic. They always resort to calling South Africans xenophobic. Man, to me, it makes no sense. To me, it makes no sense. Because right now, what you are doing, you are actually failing the same Africans that you are trying to unite. Julius Malema is basically failing the same Africans that he is trying to unite, because you cannot unite the people on the lie. You cannot unite the people based on the lie. If you as Africans going around, as influential Africans, if you people are going to go around and you are not going to be honest with each other and say, guys, we need to start communicating with our people. We need to start educating our people about how important it is for you to have a high self-conduct when you are living in a foreign country. We need to start telling our people that, guys, you cannot go from this country and go to the next country and commit a crime. You need to understand that if you are a South African, or if you are a Zimbabwean, or if you are a Mozambican, if you commit a crime in a certain country, there's going to be narrative, there's going to be stereotype about people who come from a certain country, and now people are going to mistreat every single person who comes out of that country because they believe that everyone who comes out of that country is a thug. This is the same thing that is happening right now. If you can look in South Africa right now, this is the same thing that is happening with some of the groups of the illegal immigrants that are in South Africa right now. Most of these people that are committing crimes in South Africa, they are giving names, they are giving a bad name to people who actually acquired the papers to be in South Africa. Because I can tell you today, if something happens and you find the Nigerians involved, you find the Zimbabweans involved, there's going to be narrative, there's going to be stereotype about the Nigerians in South Africa. If it happens that a child is abducted and that child was abducted by Nigerians, South Africans, all of them, they are going to think that the Nigerians as a whole, these people, man, they are kidnappers. And this is not how it's like. Some of the Nigerians are people, man, who came into the country legally. They came with their papers, man. They are working for the country. They are paying the taxes. But when a Nigerian actually does something in the country, all of the Nigerians in the country, they are going to get a bad name. So if you leaders, if you, the likes of Julius Malema, are not going to be honest with each other when you are doing these international meetings, when you are doing these African meetings, if you are not going to be honest with each other about the conduct of Africans in foreign countries, then, man, all this African unity thing of yours is based on a lie. It's based on a lie. If you cannot go to Zimbabwe and say, ZANU-PF, man, we are not saying we are against Zimbabweans coming to South Africa. I mean, we are not saying we are against that. But what we are against the people who are skipping the borders and coming into the country illegally. This is what we are against. Because if these people, man, commit crime in South Africa, there is no way for us to track these people down. Because there is no anything. There is no system. We cannot track them down. There are no fingerprints. There is nothing to actually track these people down. If you people are not going to be honest with each other, talking about those issues and simplifying the issue by simply saying that, no, South Africans are xenophobic, this whole African unity of thing of yours, you are basing it on a lie. You are basing it on a lie. Right now, I've never heard Julius Malema actually address the issues that people are talking about. Right now, if you come to the neighborhoods, if you come to the townships, if you talk with the people about the illegal immigrants and what illegal immigrants are doing into the country, people will tell you about some of the most horrible things that illegal immigrants are doing in the country. So if you are a leader, if you are a leader and you say you are a leader who actually wants to unite Africans, if you want to unite Africans and you are not going to be honest about what is happening in South Africa, then clearly this unity of yours is based on a lie. It's based on a lie. I mean, it can't be that every time South Africans speak about what is happening in the country, every time South Africans speak about what the illegal immigrants are doing in the country, but when someone as influential as Julius Malema goes out in the world, he says that no, South Africans are xenophobic, there's no place for people like in Nhlanhla, there's no space for people who are actually questioning anything that has to do with illegal immigrants, because we as the EFF, we believe that everyone must be able to jump borders and jump to the next country and commit crimes all we want, because all of us are Africans. If you guys are not going to talk about the conduct of Africans when they get to the neighboring countries, then clearly this unity of yours is based on a lie. It's based on a lie. Man, I've heard many people saying that, man, I love the EFF. I love Julius Malema, man. I love the policies of the EFF. I love everything about that party. But you see, when it comes to this thing of illegal immigration, when it comes to the EFF actually protecting illegal immigration, this is where I draw the line. Many people have said that this is where we're going to draw the line. So why is it important for Julius Malema, man, not to be honest with Africans when he's out there? Why is it important for Julius Malema to simply portray South Africans as xenophobic when he's out there in Africa? Why is he not talking about the issues that are facing poor South Africans that has to do with illegal immigration? Why is he not talking about that? Why is he not telling why is he not telling his African friends that, guys, we need to be honest about what is happening in South Africa? We need to be honest about what is happening in South Africa. I can tell you today, man, South Africans are people, man, like South Africans, they have good hearts. South Africans have good hearts, man. We have actually never protested against the African National Congress, man, despite everything the ANC has done into the country, man. We have actually never protested. South Africans are actually peaceful people. But we have to be honest, man. South Africans, the peacefulness of South African is being taken up for advantage. Julius Malema is not saying that to his African friends. He's not saying that to his African friends. Whenever he's been questioned about what is happening in the country regarding the issue of illegal immigration, he simply resorts to South Africans as xenophobic. He simply resorts to South Africans as xenophobic. So the question comes, why do you want to be the president of the country if you hate South Africa so much? If you hate South Africa so much, why do you want to be the president of the country? Why are you honestly going to ask people, man, to sit back and ignore everything that has been done into this country by illegal immigration simply because you want to unite Africans? Are you going to unite Africans based on a lie, saying that every single person in South Africa who says anything about illegal immigrants, that person is xenophobic? Is that how you are going to unite Africa? Is that how you are going to unite Africa? Man, sometimes I wished our people had internet, man. I wished our people had internet. Because right now, these things, man, the fact that these things, man, are not as trending as they're supposed to be, it shows you, man, that there's a fault, man. Our people need the internet. Our people need the internet. Our people need to understand and listen to these people, man, when they talk about this issue of illegal immigration. So right now, are you honestly going to prioritize illegal immigrants over South Africans? Going into the East elections, if you're an EFF supporter, man, are you going to prioritize illegal immigrants over South Africans? Are you going to say there's nothing wrong with people jumping borders and coming to live into South Africa and expect the taxpayers of this country, the same taxpayers that are already overburdened, are you going to ask those taxpayers to say, shut up, not say anything, man? Do not say anything about illegal immigration. Is that the stance that you people are willing to take? Is that the stance that you people are willing to take? This issue of illegal immigration, man, it is no brainer, man. It is no brainer because right now, I think South Africans are being misinterpreted to a point where right now, man, people are being frustrated. People are being misinterpreted, man. There is no one out there in the world that's saying, guys, you need to calm down. All of you, you need to calm down. All of you, you need to calm down. South Africans never said that they hate illegal immigrants. No, South Africans never said they hate foreigners. South Africans don't hate foreigners. This is South Africa. This is one of the most diverse countries in the world. There's no way that we are going to hate foreigners into this country. But what we are not going to allow, we are not going to allow people who simply cross borders and expect the taxpayers to take care of them. This is not what we are going to allow. We want every single person who wants to enter the country, you must enter the country legally, because we understand that the implications of people entering the country without the papers, committing the crimes, and simply working out of the country. Those are the implications of having people without the papers into the country. And those people, man, they can use the same thing. The fact that these people, they're not registered with any organization in South Africa, it makes you think that these people, man, the first thing that would come to their minds as soon as they come to South Africa, they are going to commit crimes, because there's no way that a person, man, who actually has good intentions, who actually wants to work hard for their family, there's no way this person can enter to another country illegally. There's no way. If you have good intentions for South Africa, if you really want to provide for your family, you must enter the country legally. You must show that, man, I want to be a contributing member of society. This is what I want to do. I want to be a member, a full member of South Africa. I want to register. I want these people to have my fingernails. I want these people to have I want these people to have my information. I want these people to have everything that has to do with me. We cannot say, we cannot hold the same people who are jumping the borders in that high standard. People who are jumping the borders, man, the first thing that comes to their mind is committing the crimes. Is committing the crimes, man. I know I'm not going to be able to be traceable. I'm not going to be able to be traceable. Guys, how many children have actually disappeared in the country? How many countries disappeared in the country, man? And the fact that our borders are so weak, and we don't have the borders, basically, to be honest with South Africans, the fact that our borders are so weak, guys, how much crime do you think open borders has actually contributed into South Africa? South Africans never said they hate foreigners, man. South Africans never said they hate foreigners. South Africans never said they hate foreigners. But for these people, man, to go in Africa and to portray South Africans as foreign hating people, man, when South Africans are saying, guys, it is very simple. If you want to enter the country, man, please enter the country legally. Please enter the country legally, man. Please, for the love of God, if you want to enter the country, man, please enter the country legally. So this is the question that Julius Malema was faced with when he was in Ghana. Guys, I want you to listen to the question and I want you to pay attention to what this young man is going to ask Julius Malema.
Wow. I post these videos on various days. My friends actually call me Julius Malema. My question is, there is this guy in South Africa called Nhlanhla, who is...
Guys, he's talking about Nhlanhla next. He's talking about Nhlanhla. I know his pronunciation, man, is a mess. Nhlanhla. He's talking about Nhlanhla, the former leader of Operation Dudula.
Wow. I post these videos on various days. My friends actually call me Julius Malema. My question is, there is this guy in South Africa called Nhlanhla, who is spearheading an operation called Operation Dudula. I want to ask my president in waiting that how is he going to push this guy out from South Africa to make sure that the blacks in South Africa enjoy as the way they will enjoy in their country. Thank you very much.
So right now in South Africa, man, South Africans are not enjoying foreigners because of the likes of Nhlanhla. This is what this young man is saying. He doesn't live in South Africa. He does not have the experience that South Africans are having. But he's saying that the blacks in South Africa, man, the blacks in South Africa, they are not enjoying the foreigners as they normally would because of the likes of Nhlanhla. And the question is, what is Julius Malema going to do to push out Nhlanhla out of South Africa? Man, where do you want Nhlanhla to go? Nhlanhla is a South African. Where do you want Nhlanhla to go? Guys, this African unity thing, man, it's a trap for South Africa to fail. This is a one huge trap for South Africa to fail. It is a one huge trap. And this is the answer. From the CIC himself.
Nhlanhla is not a definition of South Africa. He wanted to use xenophobia for his rise to fame. Even Dudula movement did not belong to him. He went to hijack it for his own selfish interest, and we have reduced him to an insignificant molecule, and therefore no one can rise in Africa on the ticket of xenophobia.
Guys, no one can rise in Africa on the ticket of xenophobia. Everyone who says anything about illegal immigrants in South Africa is xenophobic. This is what Julius Malema is telling to the world. That everyone who says anything about illegal immigrants in South Africa, especially the African illegal immigrants, is xenophobic. He's xenophobic. Do you think that Julius Malema is honestly presenting what is happening to the country? Julius Malema is going out to the world. He's in the world right now. Going out to the world. Saying all of these things. He's not telling the truth on what is happening into the country. And why is he not telling the truth on what is happening into the country? You cannot go around saying that you want to unite Africa, but at the same time you tell the lies. Of course, you can say that the tactics of Operation Dudula. You can say, okay, I was against the tactics of Operation Dudula, but let's see at the motive of Operation Dudula. You can say you are against the tactics of, let's say, Patriotic Alliance. Yeah, I'm against the tactics of Patriotic Alliance. But let's look at what Patriotic Alliance is talking about. Patriotic Alliance is talking about illegal immigration. Patriotic Alliance is saying, man, you can come into South Africa, but why must you do that, jumping the borders into the country? And why must the taxpayers of this country continue to pay for you if you came into the country illegally? Of course, you can say that you don't like how Operation Dudula operates. You don't like how Operation Dudula does this and this and that. But you cannot say the whole movement was based on xenophobia. You can't say that Caitlin McKenzie, the whole Patriotic Alliance is based on xenophobia. You can't say that. You can't say that because these people, man, are talking on people's behalf in the townships. I know that you haven't been to the townships for such a long time, Malema, but these people, man, are speaking on what people in the townships are speaking about. You can say whatever that you want to say, but I can tell you today, South Africans are frustrated with what is happening into the country. South Africans are frustrated. You don't think that young people into the country today, they know that many companies are prioritizing hiring people who are in the country illegally because they can get cheap labor instead of hiring South Africans. You don't think young people into this country know that. You don't think many people into the country know that I was replaced where I work and I was replaced by people who come out of South Africa because these people, man, they can actually provide cheap labor. You don't think many people who have lost their jobs actually understand that. You think everything is xenophobic. South Africans cannot say anything. If you dare say anything about illegal immigrants into the country, you are xenophobic. Is that how you see these things? Is that how you see these things? Man, the EFF will have to defend this one. The EFF will have to defend this one. And I don't know how the EFF is going to defend this. I don't know how they're going to defend themselves on this one. And I don't know why do these people, man, keep running to be the president of the country. If you hate South Africa so much, you hate South Africa, then clearly you hate South Africa. Because you are refusing to listen to what the people are saying on the ground. You are refusing to say, man, what is happening on the ground is total mess. Why don't we actually get a hold of what is happening in South Africa? I mean, today, as we speak, how many illegal immigrants are here in South Africa? How many illegal immigrants are here in South Africa? And the taxpayers are supposed to foot bill for anything. Taxpayers are supposed to foot bill for anything. For everything.
That is the beginning and the end of your political career. So anyone who says such politics is not worth entertaining because
Julius Malema is so privileged that everything he sees everything through the lens of politics. He sees everything through the lens of politics. Right now, he's refusing to acknowledge what is happening in South Africa because of politics. He understands that, man, I've backed myself into this corner, and because I am who I am not going to let up. I'm not going to let up. So I'm going to force even the people, man, who are affected by the illegal immigration into their own neighborhoods. I'm going to force them to see things how I see them. I know I'm privileged. I live in the suburbs. My children are attending good schools. My people don't even have to share the hospitals with these foreigners. My people don't have to fight for job employment with the foreigners who come. No, I don't have to experience that. So it's easy for people like Julius Malema to actually see everything through the lens of politics because these people are privileged. So what about the people on the ground? What about the people on the ground? And for the EFF supporters, man, who keep supporting this, for the EFF supporters who keep supporting this, guys, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for something to happen in your family? Are you waiting for something to happen in your family before you say, no, guys, we need to start doing something about illegal immigration? Guys, last year, I think around August or something, if you remember, in South Africa, over 5 children basically died after consuming the food that comes out of these shops of illegal foreigners that are all over South Africa. Man, over 5 children in South Africa lost their lives. Over 5 children lost their lives. The president of the country never said anything. The president of the country never said anything. And Julius Malema, when he was asked about it, he said that, man, what? You see? So these people, man, are prioritizing this unity of Africa over South Africa. So they are prioritizing this unity of Africa at the expense of South Africa. This whole thing of Africa unity and Africa unity happening in South Africa, man, it is a trap for South Africa to fail. It is a trap for South Africa to fail. Do you understand that today, the same Zimbabweans that are all over South Africa, these people, man, when Mugabe was still around, the Zimbabweans used to call Nelson Mandela a sellout. Zimbabweans used to say, we are slaves, we live in South Africa. Black people in South Africa, they don't own anything. Everything in South Africa is owned by white people. Today, Zimbabweans, they kicked out all the white people in Zimbabwe. They kicked out all the farmers. And guess what? Zimbabweans, as we speak today, they are scattered all over the world. Many of them, they are in South Africa. The same country they said that was led by a sellout. They said Nelson Mandela was a sellout. And the same people who said Nelson Mandela was a sellout are here in South Africa, working for the same white people they chased out of their own country. So why must South Africans listen to these people who destroyed their own countries for us to destroy our own country? Why must South Africans listen to the people who have already destroyed their own countries, man? If Zimbabweans believed in that idea so much, all of them, they would go back and live at home. All of them, they would go back and live at home. They chased out the farmers. They chased out people in Zimbabwe because they believed those people are colonizers, and they believed that they can actually survive without all of those people, man. It didn't take long before Zimbabweans started leaving Zimbabwe. Right now, Zimbabweans are scattered all over the world. Zimbabweans are treated like second-class citizens because these people, they destroyed their own country. They washed their own government, destroying their own country. Now, they cannot even do anything for their families in their own country. They have to jump the borders and come to South Africa to try to find a living. The same country they said was presided over by a sellout. So why are Zimbabweans in South Africa, if these people believed in that idea of theirs of land expropriation so much, why are these people in South Africa? Why are these people in South Africa? You said Zimbabwe has the best education. Nelson Mandela is the most, Robert Mugabe. Robert Mugabe is the most educated African leader. So why are Zimbabweans in Africa? Why are Zimbabweans in South Africa? You guys have the land in Zimbabwe. You have the land. You have the land. You have everything. You have the land. You have the minerals. No one is controlling Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe doesn't have the white monopoly capital. What you have right there is a ZANU-PF monopoly capital. You have the black leaders. Why is Zimbabwe not prospering today? Why is Zimbabwe not prospering today? It is because of the sanctions. Man, South Africa in apartheid used to prosper and South Africa was under the sanctions. Why is Zimbabwe not prospering today? These Africans, man, they want South Africa to destroy their own country the same way they destroy their own countries. They don't like seeing what is happening in South Africa. They don't like seeing what is happening in South Africa, man. These people in their own countries, they have prioritized the politicians so much that politicians have actually destroyed these countries. And now, the same people who are living in the countries that are destroyed by politicians are telling South Africans to sit back and allow politicians to destroy this country. They are saying sit back and allow politicians to destroy this country, man. There is no way taxpayers in this country, man, can be able to pay for this, man. I'm even surprised that there hasn't been any tax revolt in South Africa, man. I'm telling you, I don't want to lie. You know, these are the things that we don't want to talk about online, man. I don't want to talk about such things online. But I'm very surprised that in South Africa, there hasn't been any tax revolt. I'm surprised that the taxpayers in South Africa, man, haven't said, guys, we are enough right now. We are enough. With all of these programs that you guys keep coming up, we have to pay for everything. We have to pay for everything. Right now, South Africans are paying for children to go to school, but there are no jobs in South Africa. What is the point for South Africans to keep paying for these people, man, to go to school? If many of these people, man, they want to come back home and sit at home, what is the point? What is the point, man? Why don't we take this money, man, and actually strengthen our small business sector, man, and actually give people the fundings and actually give people the mentorship and everything. The people who can actually build the companies that are going to be able to hire other young people, man. I'm saying take all that money that you put into NSFAS, take it and put it into small businessmen. Strengthen that small businessman. Get brilliant students. Get brilliant entrepreneurs who can actually build the businesses that are going to be able to hire other young people, man. The only way young people in South Africa, man, they can actually be to get out of the position they are in is to actually stand up on their own feet and do things by themselves. South African young people, man, they don't understand that there are no jobs in South Africa. There are no jobs in South Africa. There are no jobs. So the leader of the EFF, man, goes around saying these things. And the fact that these people, man, are simplifying this whole thing that is happening in South Africa as xenophobic. The fact that these people, man, are willing to say anyone who dares says anything about what is happening in South Africa is xenophobic. Guys, this is tragic. This is tragic. I can tell you today, this is tragic, man. The fact that we have a leader of a third political party in South Africa, in the world, they're saying that the South Africans who dare say anything about illegal immigrants, man, they're foreigners. People need to understand that when Julius Malema attacks Nhlanhla, he doesn't attack Nhlanhla, he's attacking you. If you have any problems with the illegal immigrants and what the illegal immigrants are doing in South Africa, when Julius Malema addresses Nhlanhla, Julius Malema is addressing you.
They are short-lived politics and they will never be sustained because politics are based on history, on philosophy, on ideology. Who of the ideological icons that are celebrated internationally and politically, progressively, who has arisen into power on the basis of xenophobia? So that's why it's not sustainable. So please, such individuals who seek to project us as wrong people in South Africa, do not take them to heart.
Guys, I think, man, I've said what I wanted to say about illegal immigrants, man. There's nothing for me to say. There's nothing for me to say besides saying that, guys, South Africans don't hate.
May we never wake up to a day
South Africans
whereby
don't
we find
hate.
Julius.
South Africans don't hate illegal immigrants, man. I don't know, guys, how many times I'm going to say this. South Africans don't hate immigrants. South Africans don't hate foreigners. But South Africans are saying, man,
May we never wake up to a day whereby we find
South Africans don't hate foreigners, man. We don't hate foreigners. But this narrative that has been painted by South Africans who are actually being affected by what is being done by illegal foreigners into this country, the narrative that anyone who dares says anything about the foreigners into this country, about the illegal immigrants into the country, and committing all of these crimes, anyone who dares says anything about that, man, I'm telling you, that person is xenophobic. That person is xenophobic, man. Any taxpayer who say that, man, why are South African taxpayers actually burdened with taking over what is happening right now? Why are South African taxpayers required to pay for everything into this country, man, including the people who simply choose to jump the borders and come into the country? They are refusing to address those, man. They are refusing to address those. So, guys, I don't know, man. Please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba. So, guys, before I go, I'm going to play you this small clip that I came across on YouTube. I'm going to play you this small clip, guys. I want you to watch this clip, and after watching this clip, please make up your own minds, guys. So please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Maba. So I will see you next time.
Julius Malema is the president of South Africa. The man can stand in another country in Africa and stand with his chest bold and talk about a South African that he has already crushed, according to him. He talks about this person. I would be happier. I'm not saying South Africa is a perfect country. We have issues. If he could get to these countries and be able to say that South Africa is overburdened by illegal immigration, South Africa is crumbling, people should take care of their people in their countries, people should support their people, they should stop corruption in their countries so that the burden could be less on South Africa. He never does that. He never ever does that. So to jump onto xenophobia when you talk about South Africans is being shallow. The honest truth is that South Africans are frustrated. South Africans are feeling hopeless because as much as the people that we are talking about the most is our fellow African people, South Africans cannot. How many South Africans that jump into other African countries without papers and they stay there and they commit all the crimes that we experience by our foreign nationals? Let me just say illegal immigrants from other countries in Africa. I am not saying South Africans don't commit crimes. We have lots of crimes committed by South Africans. But the difference is, those people are traceable. We have masses of legal immigrants in South Africa. They can commit a crime. They can kill a person on this corner and go stand in another corner. Nobody will find them. Until people like Malema behave like South Africans, may we never have them as our presidents. Go to these countries. When you talk about South Africa being xenophobic, talk about it in the same line as, let them know that South Africa is overburdened and South Africans are suffocating. We cannot save everyone. That's the truth. We cannot save everyone. And when we talk about illegal immigration into South Africa, that should be an issue to those our fellow nationals who are here in South Africa legally. Because the fact that somebody it comes from your country, it doesn't mean they cannot harm you within South Africa. And if they harm you within South Africa and they don't have papers and you don't even know each other, you don't know them, there is no way that crime could be solved. Your family will suffer without answers in this country, that is South Africa, that already struggles solving crime that is committed by people that are traceable, who are South Africans. If we are to go to other countries in Africa and talk about South Africa, let's talk the truth. Let's talk about the truth. It is not fair to South Africans. It is not fair to people who are from other countries who are here in South Africa legally. I'm talking about people from African countries who are here legally. Let's not act like things are okay in South Africa. We cannot behave like that. We cannot behave like that. We cannot. And all the time when South Africans try to talk about these issues, they are quickly pushed to the xenophobic corner. I have a lot to say even about that xenophobia. One day we'll have to talk about xenophobia against South Africans by the people who jumped the borders and they came into South Africa and they come into South Africa and be xenophobic against South Africa. No. If Malema has to go to these African countries and talk about South Africans, he must also speak the truth. We are overburdened. We are tired. Our drainage can no longer handle the people that we have, especially in townships. The city of Joburg is... No, please. No. The truth must be spoken. That's the beginning of solving the problem. If we start talking the truth. Anyone who is in South Africa illegally is giving us problem. Whether Chinese, Indian, white, colored, whoever, you're giving us problems. You're giving us problems because we don't know what to do within our borders.
Who of the ideological icons that are celebrated internationally and politically, progressively, who has arisen into power on the basis of xenophobia? So that's why it's not sustainable. So please, such individuals who seek to project us as wrong people in South Africa, do not take them to heart. Nhlanhla